July 26th, 2014, the day that Sylvans declared war. And with the absence of our savior, Max C, the Sylvans were free to amass an army of unparalleled strength and power, uncontested. Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring to you the reckoning of the Sylvan deck. What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo, and as you can clearly see, I'm bringing you a dual video commentary with me versus a Sylvan deck at the Yu-Gi-Oh! States TCG Player Tournament here in Nevada. Now, the Sylvan player opened up with the crazy hand. He started off with Lone Fire into Soul Charge, which is already one of the most powerful plays the Sylvan deck can produce, but it only gets nuttier than that. So, he tributes off the second Lone Fire for a Hermitry, and then Soul Charges back both of the Lone Fires, getting a Hermitry and a Sage Koya. So his field is already really strong. But that's just the beginning, because it's only going to get better from here. Because what he's going to do next is he's going to activate the effects of each of his Sylvan monsters, which will allow him to excavate. He excavates a Copy Plant, a Spore, and a Sylvan Martial Leaf, which means he gets the +2 off of his Sylvan Hermitries. Then after that, he's going to overlay the 2 Sylvan Hermitries into Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand, which, turn 1, Felgrand is one of the hardest cards to overcome. Now, for me, I'm playing my Instant Hat deck. It says up in the top left corner that I'm playing Hat, but it's my Instant Hat build. So, from here, the Sylvan player is deciding what he wants to do next. And what he's going to do is he's going to banish both of his Lone Fire Blossoms to summon Blaster. And then what he's going to do is he's going to overlay his Blaster and his Sage Koya for a Dracosack. Now, Felgrand Dracosack turn 1 is a really scary board to go up against. And at this point, I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't even know what to do. And then so he detaches a material from Dracosack to summon 2 Miltanks. And if you didn't know, Miltanks are just the best tokens in the game. You know, if you tribute off a Miltank, then you can destroy your opponent's entire field. Now, as you can see, I fast-forwarded there because I literally took almost a minute and a half to figure out how I was going to break this board. And so I ended up setting 1 monster and 2 face downs. Now, the monster I set was Firehand, because in my mind I was thinking, I'm going to have to just slowly pick apart his Dracosack and his Felgrand, and then I can just Exciton his entire board. So he uses one of his Dracosack tokens to pop my face down Dimensional Prison, which was really unfortunate because that was another card I could have used that could have gotten rid of one of the materials off of his monsters. So he detaches a material from Felgrand, fearing that my face down is a Firehand, which that was very smart of him because it was. So what he's going to do is he's going to attack me with the Felgrand, and I'm in a really tight spot because the Felgrand is protected, Dracosack's protected, but luckily he still has 1 token on his field, so I can blow up his token and special summon an Ice Hand, so I still have some sort of board presence. Now, from here, at this point, I mean, his field is just, it's nuts. It's absolutely insane. And this is just what Sylvans can do. With Soul Charge at 3 and Lone Fire at 2, Sylvans are just such an incredible deck. And if they go first and they pull off they can pull off so many nutty plays with these types of fields. It's crazy. So, the Sylvan player detaches his final material off of Dracosack and summons 2 more Miltanks. Then he sets 1 more monster, and I believe he passes turn after that over to me. Now, again, at this point, I mean, look at this field. This field is just, it's so hard to break. And this is, this is actually where things get really funny in the duel, because I kept this part in the video just because I thought it was really hilarious. But what ends up happening is you see the camera start to turn towards the Sylvan player, and what happens is the camera that's recording this duel for the stream is on a pole, and what's happening is the Sylvan player is knocking his leg against the pole and turning the camera towards himself, and he doesn't realize he's doing it, but it was just so funny because then one of the guys comes over and is like, "Stop kicking the pole!" So, literally after like 2 minutes of fast forwarding, I just go back to the duel, and all you missed was I set a monster and I set 2 more face downs. And at this point, I'm really close because his monsters are just, they're dwindling down on their Xyz materials, and it's just, I'm getting really close. So he detaches, he tributes one of his tokens to destroy my face down, and I chain Compulsory Evacuation Device, wanting to burn the last card off of his Felgrand, well, the last material off of his Felgrand, because in that way, next turn, I can just go into Exciton and I can wipe the entire board, and I'll have some sort of established presence. Now, Unfortunately for me, I'm not going to get that next turn, but you'll see that soon enough as to why. He activates Mount Sylvania, and with Mount Sylvania's effect, he uses it to discard one of his cards in his hand, and he stacks Martial Leaf on the top of his deck. And I'm not sure exactly what he discarded, because since the camera moved, I can't see the graveyard, but you have to discard a plant monster to be able to stack. So then he flips up his face-down Coma Shroomo, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, if this gets off, like, I'm already gonna lose. So what I have to decide at this point is, do I want to burn one of my face-downs on the Coma Shroomo? And I end up deciding to burn the Solemn Warning, because Solemn Warning, it'll just completely stop the Coma Shroomo. I already know the Martial Leaf stacked, but I don't know what else he's gonna mill to make his board even more deadly. So I decided in my head, you know, let's just use the Warning. I'll be able to stop his plays, and I might make it to next turn. If I would have only known, that wasn't going to happen. So then, after a little bit more fast forwarding, he decides to activate Miracle Fertilizer, and I'm like, at this point, my face down, I'll tell you, is an instant fusion. It's a bluff, because I had no other face downs, and I'm like, okay, I need to have some sort of bluffs on my board. So he activates his Miracle Fertilizer, and he summons back his Sage Koya. And then what he's going to do is he's going to banish, I believe, a Hermitry and a Coma Shroomo, or maybe 2 Coma Shroomos, I'm not sure. It's 2 Coma Shroomos. He banishes 2 Coma Shroomos for Blaster, and then he overlays them into Aurea, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, this field, look at this field! Just look at this motherfucking field! And then he banishes his Hermitry for Spore, so it's level 9, and then he tributes it off for the Aurea, so he gets to stack the next 9 cards of his deck. So then after all that took maybe 2 minutes for him to do that. He excavates 3, which is Hermitry, Martial Leaf, and I do not realize the second one. He hits the pole again with his leg, and I was just laughing at this point. When I was watching this on the stream when I got home, I was laughing so hard. So he excavates those 3, he just sends my entire field back to my hand, and then what he's going to end up doing is, he's going to summon the Martial Leaf, and because he has so much damage on board, that's going to be the end of me. He has the Felgrand at 28, the Aurea at 28, Martial Leaf at 15, and because I paid that 2,000 life points for Solemn Warning, that's the end of the game. That is the true power of Sylvans at its finest. Thank you guys so much for watching this awesome video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button because it really helps my chances out in the Next Great Yugituber competition. And we'll see you next time.